Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
This is Jordan McLeod from Texas State. You're listening to Fun Belt Podcast.
This is the Fun Belt Podcast, part of the Believe Network.
Hosts the Dusty Thibodeaux of Warhawks Report, Jeremy Harper of Howl Racer, and Shane Mettlen of the Daily News Record.
I think it's potentially a very good week for the Sun Belts.
But I'm just kind of going off on a random rant. It's just frustrating.
Welcome back to Fun Belt Podcast, Day 2, Part 2 of our coverage of Sun Belt Media Days. We've already spoken to South Alabama, got to know the coach for South Alabama, old Major Applewhite. We spoke with Arkansas State and Butch Jones, and I fanboyed a little, I'll admit it. But I really like what they have this year. Really like talking to Jalen Rayner and Charles Willikes. And we talked a little bit to Southern Miss. Will Hall, he's got a big job ahead of him at Southern Miss. So 3 great interviews in Part 1. Part 2, we're all Louisiana guys. We're going to talk to the Cajuns and Coach Dez. We're going to talk to ULM and their new coach, Brian Vincent. Get a hold of some of their players. And hopefully make you guys a little more, give you guys a greater understanding of football in Louisiana. Tibbs and I are going to hit it off right now. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in the UCF, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on some blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here.
The ULM contingency joins us, Jeremy, on Fun Belt Podcast. New head coach Brian Vincent. It's been a whirlwind. Tell me about your time on the Bayou as you get ready for year 1.
I think that it's been very satisfying. I think we've been able to accomplish and get a lot of things built foundationally that have to be in place to build a program, to rebuild a program. I think that the town, the community, and the university from day one to where we're at today, you've seen the excitement start to build. You've seen, so we're trying to grab that thing called momentum. And we're trying to do it one day at a time, one person at a time. We've got to build an army in this town. We've got to build an army in that locker room. And you've got to put those armies together, and everybody's got to be locked up and headed in that direction. It's not easy because obviously there's been some tough times. And this town, who is very passionate, the alumni, the town, the former players, there's a lot of passion and there's a lot of love for this program. And they want to see it take a step. They want to see it get up. And I think the steps, the first 6.5, 7 months, some necessary steps have been taken. There's a lot of more steps and a lot of more things that we have got to build upon and grow and develop. But I think that we've taken some huge steps. I like where our team is working to, where the town is starting to work to, because, let's be honest, I'm a real guy. A lot of them want to know is it a rerun? Is it another commercial? And it's up to us to show them that it's not. And our team owns that. We embrace that, and we're on this mission together, and we're ready to take that next step of finishing phase 3 of summer workouts and begin fall camp.
Coach, you talked about building it. I think the last number I heard, 72 new players on the roster. Is there an update to that? And is that kind of the new norm, that you're going to see these high numbers of transfers and portal guys and everything else?
I don't think you'll see we understand that the portal, and being able to transfer and all those things. But I think this year was just different because being year one, and we added 31 in December. We had 34 guys, I think, enter the portal, when we got here. So we didn't want that. We wanted to build the guys that wanted to own who we are, what we're going to have to do. We understand this is not an easy mission. This is not easy. So we wanted the guys that wanted to own this mission, that knew who we were, where we are, but also wanted to do something about what has to be done. So I don't think you'll see this number again at this program right now in this era. 73 is an extremely high number. I'm hoping it's going to be anywhere from 21 to 32 is a normal year, I think, moving forward on what we're going to do, because, I think that we're going to take some steps this year, and it's going to grow. It is going to grow, and we're not going to have that mass number going into year one, really.
So joining Coach Vincent is Elijah Fisher, offensive lineman, and Carl Glass, linebacker. Both of you guys are longtime ULM men. 3 years, 4 years, you know what the program's like. I want to push it back to you, Elijah. Last year's team, until it ran out of gas at the end of the year, when the injuries mounted up and it was just too much, had a lot of pluck, kept a lot of close games, lost some heartbreakers. Tell me a little bit about that season. How was it going through that season?
It was a struggle. It's hard to be in every game. Like, from our eyes, we were in every game. There wasn't really a team that we thought was going to blow us out like that last year. So I think personally it was really a struggle, and we felt like we had a few of those games. Like, App State was one we definitely should have had. Texas State is another one we should have had. And just seeing what those teams did last year versus what we did last year it makes you look at it a little differently. So I think it was just probably a little struggle, but I mean we got this guy now, so I promise it's ready.
Carl, new leadership on board at ULM, new coach, new attitude. How do you think this year is going to be a little different from last year?
I think it's going to be a lot different from last year, just from the leadership, the attitude, and we got a standard. So I think it's going to be real different from last year.
You're a local guy there, Carlin, being a Monroe guy. What's it mean to kind of see this program start turning the corner, start trying to go upwards?
Oh, that's a good question. But I think it means a lot, though. And one thing I hope that we can do is get the community more involved with the school, with the football team, of course. If we can do that, then that'll be a big step for us.
The season's right around the corner because we're at media days, but more importantly, you get some new lids. What's your thought there, Elijah, on the new P40 helmet?
I think they're sick, by the way.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. We have a great staff. Like the stuff that Coach V and his staff are doing at ULM, they're looking after us, and something like that, it's eye-opening because you don't really see stuff like that coming out of ULM. We had the P40 uniforms; they were a little older, and seeing something like that, it's newer, it's updated. It's like what's in right now in college football because it looks so good, So I'm excited that we get to wear them. But I mean, mine's going to be scraped up, so I don't know how much chrome's going to be showing.
So what change would you make to it then?
Change?
None.
Yeah,
I wouldn't make any change.
There's always a tweak to it.
A tweak?
Tweak. Is it maybe a maroon eye instead of the golden eye? Is it?
I love it. I really think they hit the design on the head. I think that's the best they could do with that particular mouth and the P40 mouth and everything. So I think they did a great job.
Carlin, Jackson State comes to town. You were around for last time when it was the Prime show. How's it going to be different this time around?
No, I wasn't here.
Oh, you weren't here for the Prime Time show?
I was. Yeah.
Oh, you were. How's it going to be a little different this time then, Elijah?
I think it'll be more focused on us as opposed to Coach Bowden and Dion, because he coached, they got connections, all that. So I think it was more of a media game. They wanted to see Dion play Coach Bowden, and I think that's kind of what it turned into. Still a good game. We didn't play very well, but I think this year it's going to be a little different.
So, Coach Vincent, the stage was set for that game though, because Dion coach the game barefooted. Are you going to carry over that game tradition?
That's not been in the plan. That's not been in the plan. That's actually the first I heard of that. So, no, we'll definitely be ready to go.
Did he really coach it barefooted?
He coached barefooted.
I think that should be a trend that people follow.
I mean,
like that.
you take your shoes off when you go to company's house. I mean, I don't know what it is.
I think we should podcast barefoot. I think that would really be good. So you spent, what was it, last season at New Mexico or New Mexico State? I can't remember.
University of New Mexico.
Now you're the head guy. How is that different? Does it feel like there's a bigger responsibility, or do you just slip right into that role without any?
I think that if you go back to throughout, my career and the journey, I've been a head coach 5 years at the high school level, turned 2 programs around, and then being the offensive coordinator for several years and assistant head coach at different programs where you're kind of the head coach's right-hand man. So I was kind of seeing how Bill built UAB from the administrative side also, and then being the head coach at UAB in 22, without a doubt prepared me for this moment. The experiences that I've been through just really set it up for this moment. So I know exactly the phases that we want to do, the things that we have to build to give ourselves a chance to reach that pinnacle, from the discipline, the toughness, the nutrition, the speed, the change of direction programs, to our strength, to also the mindset and mentality that it takes. This ain't easy now. And so every day has to be tough. And if you become tough and you become disciplined and you do it for each other and you believe in the mission of turning ULM around, which our team does, we got a shot. We got a shot.
Carlin, week 2, UAB comes to town. Is that a bigger game because we're on the stage against the American Conference and we being the Sun Belt Conference versus American?
I mean,
or is it a win-one for the Gipper knowing?
No, we treat all games the same. So week by week. And no game bigger than the next game.
Except for the bye week. That's always a huge game. Major game.
I really think that's going to be the key to this team, is what you just said, what Carl said. Look, Jackson State, that's this team, this era's first game at home. It's huge game for our town, for our university, for our growth, for everything. UAB's coming into town the next week. It's a huge game in many ways, everything. Texas is a huge game. We understand that. Then we got to go on the road to Troy. And so Troy, James Madison, Southern Miss, Texas State, Auburn, Marshall, ULL, Arch. If we can be that same team from game 1 to game 12, then that chapter and that book's written. I think we'll like the ending. But a lot of teams aren't willing to do that. If they have a setback, if they have a loss here, a loss there, well, then they start changing and they start dipping. We have to remain the same so we can peak those last 4 or 5 games and to finish what we're set out to accomplish in year 1.
Biggest question mark coming into the season? I got to ask it.
I know it's coming.
You know the answer you're going to get. You award.
Have you played NCAA football?
Nice one. Hey, nice one. You were a step ahead of me on that one, Desi. I didn't think that was coming. I have not played it. We've talked about it. Our coaches are playing it. Our players everybody's playing it. I just hadn't gotten to it. I want to. I do. I just haven't gotten to it. I got to get a PS5, I guess, in my house to be able to play it, but it's really not the focus. I'm really happy the kids are enjoying it, and it's been great for them. It's been great for college football, but I just hadn't had the opportunity yet. So get with the real question now, Dusty. So I know what's coming.
So when you play this game, who will be behind center in the game at least?
You know what? That was a good question, Dusty. To be honest, man, this is what I believe in, and I'm being honest. This is what I believe in, and whoever wins that job, they got to win it on the field in fall camp. Their teammates have to see them take this team, and I can't wait to see it, because somebody's going to take this team. And I think we got some guys we got really 4 guys in my mind that are really raising their level, saying, hey, I want to be that guy. But it's after that second scrimmage. We've got 2 scrimmages in fall camp. That's how I believe in doing it. It's how we've done it in the past. When that second scrimmage is over and that guy has earned it in front of his team and on the field, then that's who we'll go with, and then we'll move forward.
Jeremy, you know what I heard?
No.
The quarterback has to be a general.
Oh, my goodness.
He has to be a commander.
He's all about that booty. All right, I tell you what, if you really want to ingratiate yourself to the fans of Monroe, to become a hero of the city, to win the key to the hearts and minds of all Louisiana, you've got to break this streak against Arkansas State. Was it 4 years?
14, Jeremy. Thank you for pouring
14
salt in that
years
one.
in a row, huh?
14.
Wow.
You've got to be the man that breaks that.
I didn't realize it was 14.
14. It hurts.
Wow. That'll be a challenge that our guys will look forward to working towards. You know, I can promise you that.
It's happening, Jeremy.
All right, you felt it. You've been calling it all year. This is the year.
And I'm telling you right now, like, what I want this town and our fans and our alumni to understand is we're doing this for them. We're doing this for the town, for the university, for the former players, and we're doing it for each other in that locker room. We have to play for each other to get these guys, all the town, the community, the fans, everybody to join in. Because we have to join in. We have to unite. You know, we have to. Forget about the past. The only way we're going to get this program where we want is if we all unite and say, let's go fight this war together.
Coach, looking forward to it as always. Anxious to see what happens this season, and ready to see what Elijah Fisher can do if he can live up to the hype.
Yeah, I think you're going to be surprised. I think Carl and Elijah have been leaders that have really said, you got to become player-led if you're ever going to get to where we want to go. And these two guys have been in the wars, and they want to change this place. It's personal to them. They're passionate about this program and this town, and I'm excited, to watch these guys play this year.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Go Warhawks.
The Raging Cajuns join us for the Funbelt podcast as we continue rolling through the Sunbelt Conference West. Coach Des, 6-7. It was a great year, really, for y'all. Another bowl game didn't go exactly the way y'all wanted it. It hurt me seeing Conference USA's Jacksonville State get their first ever win. But, I mean, that was a great, hard-fought season for you. What did you really kind of take away from that season?
None of us are content with that. None of us are happy with that. I think we all know how close that gap is really small for us. And we want to close that gap this year. And for us, it's all about getting back in this conference championship where we want to be.
Coach, the Cajuns didn't see that kind of usual decimation from the portal that a lot of other teams saw this year. That tells me that you must be people must be buying into the culture at Louisiana. Is that true? Is there what's going on that you're able to keep all these guys when so many people leave?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that play into it. Number one, it's the players, right? The model in recruiting and the model of roster management and all this stuff has changed over the years. It used to be they pick your university one time and then they're there, right? Yeah. Well, the reality is that when you have good players like this, they have to pick UL over and over and over again. And I think a number of things play into that. Number one, I think it's the kids chose to come to this place for the right reason. I think the relationships that we build from player to player, player to coach to coach, I think are real relationships. And certainly, just as important right now, our communities supported this. Our communities made it possible for us to be able to give these guys a reason to stay other than just because it's a great place. So, I'm thankful, I'm grateful for these guys for choosing to stay over and over again because, look, the reality of it, the hardest thing to do right now in the group of five is to keep a veteran roster.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing to do, but I think the most important thing you can have on your roster are veteran players who have played, who have been in the fire before. So for us, everyone's trying to figure out a way to do that. We've been very fortunate, but there's no doubt that it takes a community support and it takes players that see the value in being here. And they know, these guys, they know what we have in front of us. They know the type of team that we can have, and they know what we've worked really hard to build here. And for me, from the very beginning when I got this job, there was no blueprint to what really works, right? It all changed overnight. We wanted to recruit high school players. We wanted to recruit guys we could get in our program, and we felt very strongly we could retain them. And this year we've been able to do that. We've been able to retain them. And, again, it comes down to those things: community support, the player involvement, and I think real relationships.
AJ, you get a new offensive line coach there, Steve Farmer, coming in. What are some big things that you've learned early on as far as technique or really kind of changing up your game? Or has he kind of watched the film and said, keep doing what you're doing?
Oh, no. Coach Farmer came in, of course he congratulated us on, the success we had as an offensive line. But, there's always room to grow. So we have changed up some techniques. We've changed up some ways that we do different things. And I feel like it's a benefit to all of our game. And it's always good to have another point of view from, what you're accustomed to doing. So he came in, showed us a different point of view, gave us a different couple of techniques to, change up and correct. And I feel like that's elevated our game to a different level.
AJ Gilly and Casey Osai join us with Coach Dez from Louisiana. Here's something that I always think of when I think of Cajun football is big offensive linemen and hard-hitting linebackers. So it's appropriate that Coach Dez would bring you to it. Why is it? It seems like every year that the Cajuns churn out great offensive linemen and hard-hitting linebackers.
I think it's just the way we play, the way we practice, the intensity we practice at. So I think that just leads us to not having a choice, especially at linebacker. You don't have a choice to either to come down and hit, because if you don't, you have people like AJ Gilly climbing up to you to put you on your back. So it just creates that mentality and that intensity going into the season.
I agree, yeah. So at practice, it's like, in between the lines, it's a bloodbath every day, but, when we walk off the field, we love each other just as much as we practice hard against each other. So, it's a great respect, and going out there practicing hard against your brother, to make him better every day. So, that's what we do.
Well, the third thing I think about when I think about the Cajuns has always been a great run game, and the offensive line is always the key to a great run game. How do you feel about this offensive line this year for the Cajuns?
It's a veteran group of guys coming back. I feel comfortable, confident with them. We all have very much experience, and, we have a great group of backs in the backfield. We used to go by saying the running back will always make you right, and I feel like, with these guys back here in the backfield, they will make us right. You have guys that have experience, and I have a lot of confidence in those guys that they're going to, always make us right.
You had an offensive lineman get drafted last year. How great is that to know that it's a guy that was in the locker room with you, next to you on the line, and then more importantly, there's always the perception, you're in the G5, you must not be that great of a player, you'll never make it to the next level, to kind of have these guys showing you, yeah, you can.
Yeah, it was really exciting to see Nate get drafted, especially seeing, the growth that he's had from his freshman year all the way until him getting drafted. And, to see what he went through, the ups, the downs, everything like that, it's very exciting to see him, make it to the next level. And I take a lot of pride and confidence in being, able to play beside him last year. And that just gives me a little bit more hope and a little bit more to push forward for.
Did you ever give him a hard time saying, man, I was better than you, so, I know I'll make it?
Nah, it was a draft like 2 years ago, and I saw a guy get drafted, and I called him up like in that moment. I was like, bro, like, you're way better than this guy right here. Like, I know you're going to get drafted, so, it's nothing but support from me on my end.
KC, you get to go head-to-head against this offense every day. How good is this Cajuns offense going to be?
Oh, it's wonderful. Like Coach Dez mentioned, we played 3 quarterbacks last year, and we still averaged 30 points a game. So, like, the proof is in the pudding. The formula is there. So it's great to be challenged like that as a defensive player. A guy that enjoys football, enjoys learning the game. It's great to be challenged like that every single day and just get better as a defensive mind.
AJ, is the defense back?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the D-line. Those guys, they've been working really hard in the offseason, getting stronger, putting on weight. And, even in OTAs, it's a struggle. Like, you could tell it's a difference going against the D-line. I feel like they're going to be a very good group this year. You have guys coming back with a lot of experience, and then you have guys like Casey, in the secondary coming downhill, you know, is always, you know, something going up against him head to head. He's a thumper, so he's gonna sit in there and take the block and try to shed off the block. So yeah, I really feel confident in the defense this year. You know, I feel like they're gonna be a great unit.
KC, you have Sunbelt royalty there as your head coach. Did you ever go back, watch his film, and say, I could have got him?
No, I did not, but I've heard he was a bad man, though. But I have full confidence in myself all the time. I could have gotten him down.
And another legend I know that's still around the program, Terrell Finroy. Would you have kind of olayed him, knowing that he's probably a little bit smaller now than when he played? So, I mean
he's a cop, though, now, right?
Yeah, he's a
laying
cop.
down some hits.
He is.
Okay.
I see him sometimes too downtown, everywhere else. But yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm still full confidence in myself that I can, anyone else.
You're a way better man than me, because I would have been like, keep on going, buddy. I'm going to be here for the next play.
Coach, I had one more question for you in terms of the quarterback situation, because you had Zion Chris last year, had that great freshman season, got injured at the end of the year, but you look like the heir apparent. But you have two quarterbacks waiting in the wings that have plenty, not just experience behind center, but Cajuns experience behind center. Could you tell me a little bit more about those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's part of, kind of what it is now, I mean, guys that kind of see this is not the right place for them, that's fine. That's kind of what it's about. We're fortunate, and I think these two guys would tell you as much as anybody, to have the two guys that we have that they've played really well for us. They've won games for us, and we believe in those two guys. I mean, staff, players, everybody, because we've seen it. And, Chandler, I mean, can't say enough about the job he did at the end of the last year.
Yeah.
I mean, to come in when his number was called and play really good football and really put us in position to go out there and go get into a bowl game and have a chance to win that game. Had a great spring. Coming into it, yeah, I mean, he's going to go with the ones the first day, but, Ben Wooldridge has done enough for this team, too, to deserve that opportunity to compete for the job. And I think for our team, I think when everyone across the board looks around and says, well, our quarterbacks are competing their tails off day in and day out to see who the guy is, like, I think that pushes the entire team. And I expect this fall camp to be a really good battle between the two. I think a big question is going to be how healthy Ben Wooldridge is, coming off a couple injuries. But he feels really confident right now. He's been cleared fully. So we're going to let those guys go at it. And I know this, there's a whole lot worse positions you could be in than having two veteran quarterbacks that have played good football that our guys believe in. So quarterback's not going to hold us back this year. I know that for a fact.
Amazing work underway at Cajun Field for the stadium. But how bad is it going to be this year for game days?
Well, I mean, I have a saying all the time. It has to be the best thing that happened because it happened. So for us, it's going to be cool, man. We're going to have everybody on one side of the stadium. It'll kind of change it. And for a year, it'll be a year of transition. And, these guys will have a unique experience than any other team ever has or ever will have again. But I think the progress is necessary because I think what it does for us in the future, there's no doubt it's worth it. And look, it's Cajun Field, and it's our house. It's a swamp. We're still going to go down that tunnel 6 Saturdays this fall, hopefully 7, and we got to go defend it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. We're going to make the best out of it, and we're going to try to go 6-0 on the renovated Cajun Field, while it's underway, and that's all that really matters, I mean, doesn't matter if we got to play in the parking lot. It's a game that we got to go play. We got to find a way to win.
Coach, I need a moment of truth. I mean, just a nugget of truth right now, the most truthful answer that you could possibly give to this. Do the Cajuns really serve the cheapest beer in college football?
Without question, $2 natural light. I don't know how that's even been questioned, but
it seems like a big controversy.
Look, hey, it is what it is, but all I could say is if the people want to find out, show up to the games on Saturday, go get you a $2 natty light, and you'll see.
You got to do that in person, I think.
Correct.
Apparently.
You got to be there. You can't get on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, you can't get it on Plus. They won't ship it to you there, Jeremy.
Okay. I tried. Yeah.
Yeah.
No dice.
Guys, we thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing how the Cajuns come back this year and try to flip the script, go 7-6, if not better?
Better.
Yeah.